In today's episode, I'm speaking to Vietnamese startup founder Laura Phan. Laura is the founder and CEO of iZi Community. An iZi Community is an online gamification education platform made for learners who need snack-sized learning. It is also a platform that brings together learners and content creators in Vietnam. Hello and welcome to Season 3 of the Womenpreneur Asia podcast, and I'm your host, Krista Good. Through Womenpreneur Asia, I hope to bring you stories of inspiring yet down-to-earth women in business across Malaysia and Asia. This episode is sponsored by Redbox Studio. Laura and I went really deep into her experiences and story for this episode. Our conversation flowed from one topic to another, yet never disjointed or uncomfortable. I found out that she had an unusual habit as a child, and she often got bored at school. And it was at university that this boredom spun her in a direction that completely changed her life. I shan't give everything away, but I promise you that you will learn so much from this episode, just as I did, about being an entrepreneur, sustaining a business, validating a business idea, running a startup, being a non-tech woman founder, and even what differentiates successful startup founders from the rest. This is a must-listen episode if you're a startup founder that wants to achieve success just like Laura. But even if you're not a startup founder, you will also derive some really great insights from this interview. Now onwards to the episode. Hi Laura, welcome to Womenpreneur Asia.
Hi Krista, very happy to be here.
So Laura, usually I start with asking a very basic question, but today, I want to ask a question that's a little bit unusual. So take me back to the time when you first started your business when you were 21.
Wow, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Okay, wow. I like unusual questions. But thank you for the question. That moment was one of the most important moments in my life. When I first started my business, when I was still in school, in university. So you know that when I was in second year of my university, I feel very bored at studying because even though I study business, international business at a very prestigious school in Vietnam, but I didn't feel meaningful at all. So I feel like I didn't know where my life would go. Then I tried to go around and try a few boot camps in entrepreneurship. And luckily, I met a professor from Stanford who created a boot camp in Vietnam for 7 days. So that's the first time that I got to know about entrepreneurship. And then I skipped my class in my university to sit in another class, to be a teaching assistant to the professor in another class. And I told him, okay, you don't need to pay me anything. You don't need to even pay attention to me. Just let me sit in your class. I will do everything I can to help you. Just let me in your class. And then after 3 months sitting in the class with him, then I started to learn a lot. I get very excited with entrepreneurship, something very new to me. And then I become the substitute teacher for him.
Wow,
I volunteered to do that. Yeah,
that was having quite a leap from, sitting in the class, observing, learning, and then becoming a teaching assistant.
Yeah, very courageous me. I just spoke it out to him. Okay, if you busy, let me be the substitute teacher. Don't worry, I will send you all of the lesson plan. And then I become the substitute teacher when I was in second year of my university time. And after a few classes that I instructed, then he introduced me to World Bank. And then World Bank trained me in India when I was 20.
So you went to India?
Yeah. I skipped one of the class. No, it's just secret. But actually, I managed to graduate. Yeah.
You graduated. It's okay.
I managed to graduate already. So I went to India for the trainings, and then I went back to Vietnam and become the training specialist for World Bank at the time. And I trained business incubation management. So I flew here and there along the country to train. And then people told me that, people who can't do teach. And I feel quite like ashamed of that. Like, why people say that, And then I decided to do my own company, my own setup to prove that I can do things. It's not about like only teaching or talking, right? That's why when I get 21, I decided to start my own business. Actually, it's way after the trip when I went to Silicon Valley for 2 weeks in the training there also. And I met up with many like big tech company there and the founders there. So I got inspired a lot. So I went back to my country. I raised a bit of fund and I start my business. At that time, I feel very eager to do something, to start something. And I want to start first with my university's peer. So I look around in Ho Chi Minh City. The students is the future of the country. But they eat a lot of junk food, and that junk food will become their blood and their mind, everything they sell, right?
Now I need to ask you, what junk food is in Vietnam?
Junk food is like street food.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah,
not fast food.
And
not
fast food, yes.
Fast food and
including,
fast food,
yeah.
Okay.
So then I thought at that time, that, okay, I should do something. And I should start by helping the young people to be more conscious in eating. Because their habit of eating will shape their habit in thinking. So you are what you eat, right? So that's what I was trying to do when I was 21 years old. And I just did whatever I think in my mind without any experience. I try everything. And then I hire 30 people for my company. And it's very tough. Like every day, new challenge happen. And every day is very new for me. I have to make decision. And all of the decision is based on total assumption. No experience at all. So
were you still at school? Were you still at university?
Yes.
So you're running a business.
Yes. At the same time, I managed to graduate also, and at the same time, launch my business with 30 employees. That's crazy time for me. I slept very little at that time, but it's very meaningful for me. And the business didn't went successfully because so many operational issues happened, that because I was not experienced enough at the time to handle that. So there's a very big lesson learned for me at the time. And also it affected my psychology too, because I succeeded quite early in my life, like around 19, 20 years old. I flew around to many countries, even though I'm still in university, and people wrote a lot about me in media. But when I started my business, I failed. And that psychological burden affected me a lot. Yeah, that's the first milestone that marked a milestone of my maturity, because I reflect a lot on that.
Yeah. And what happened after you felt that it wasn't going the way you wanted to go? I mean, you have 30 staff, you slept very few hours, you were juggling school and business.
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah, what happened after that?
You mean after I decided to close down my business?
Yeah.
To exit it? Okay. When I decided to close down and exit my business, actually I sold my business to another person. It was a very tough time for me, but I make it, I recovered quite quickly. So after 1 to 2 weeks, I managed to get another job to make a living out of that. I convinced myself not to be so down in the time. it will not help me. It would not help me anything. So, but during that time for years, I self-doubted a lot about myself. I'm self-doubted a lot. Self-criticized a lot. And then I thought that maybe entrepreneurship and business would not be the thing for me. Yeah. So that thinking obsessed me for years because of that first failure.
The first early step into
Very
entrepreneurship.
Early. Yes, very early. Yeah.
Yeah. But when I hear your story, it also strikes me as quite unique because you are quite brave to ask for a teaching job.
Yeah.
After being an observer and listening and learning. So you took on a teaching job. And then from there, you took another step to start that first business of yours. Because you wanted to prove a point, right? That people who not just teach, but also can do.
Yes.
Yeah. So imagine your life would be different if you didn't make that first step in asking for that job, that teaching job, and putting yourself out there as a teacher of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of things would have changed for you too, right? You wouldn't have, I think maybe different. Maybe your life would have turned out differently because that one first step made all the other steps possible.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I start my story first with being in touch with entrepreneurship. And that decision changed everything. If I change that moment, everything will change. Yeah.
Do you regret that? Do you regret asking for the job?
No. Yeah.
Not in a million years.
No. Yeah.
How about starting that first business of yours?
I don't regret either. Yeah. Everything's very meaningful for me because all of the decisions that I made during that time was the bravest, like the most courageous decision that I made for my life. So I went beyond my safe zone, and I took courage to do that. So it's very meaningful for me. Whatever the result happened, is meaningful thing that I did for my life. So
you sound to me as someone who's really very resilient, that you could bounce back very quickly after a setback. Did you have like support or encouragement from the people around you, your family, your friends, or did they give you advice about what you were doing at that time?
Well, actually, at that time, because I was too young, I was not very mature in like seeing the support from people around me. Actually, I can tell that I was quite alone, because I'm kind of introvert when I was born, and I tend to internalize a lot of things, and I'm very independent. So when I first start my business, I just do it with everything I have. I didn't ask for support. I didn't ask for advice. Nothing. I just go ahead. Whatever people say, oh, you're gonna fail. You're gonna not become this and that. I ignore all of them. I just go ahead. I don't care. But like after reflecting for many years about what shaped my characteristic, like to be highly resilient, like you just mentioned. And I look at my mom, I think she like unconsciously, I am influenced by her quality because she a very strong woman. She very hardworking. She never give any negative feeling to us, for my whole entire life until now. Everything about her, even though sometimes she feels vulnerable, but still very calm, composed, and cheerful to us. She have a super high resilience, what I didn't recognize when I was young. Until now, when I'm more mature, I'm 30 now, and then I look back at her and I say, wow, such a powerful woman. And maybe I was influenced unconsciously by that quality from her.
Was your mother also involved in any form of entrepreneurship?
Not really like what we think about the startup things, but she on her own she did many small business, like not an official like business registration or business entity.
Yeah.
But she trading, like she did like 5 jobs at the same time. Yeah, it's kind of she quite entrepreneurial, but not a real business. Yeah.
Yeah, in thinking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many of you, like how many children in the family?
Me and my younger brother only. Yeah.
Okay. So you're the eldest.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that was a really interesting time for you, right? Starting the business young and having so many staff and so many people to take care of.
Yes.
And now let's come to now, right?
Yeah.
Like now you're the CEO and founder of iZi. So how did the idea of iZi come about? And what was your first step? Or do you now go back and think about all the other things you did before and start something else, which is not retail? Because I think the first business was retail, right?
Yes, the first business is the food tech business. Yeah, it related to retail too because we do food service. We have a food, the meal plan platform, and also a restaurant to do retail. Yeah, but very good questions. Like because my current business, iZi, is somehow related to what I thought during that time when I started my first business. Because when I failed the first business, I asked myself why I failed. So actually, why I failed is it's not about the experience, but in about the thinking. I try to ask myself why I fail in perspective and thinking. So I didn't ask about experience because obviously I didn't have enough experience to run a business, but it doesn't matter actually. Then I think, okay, if I want to solve the problem for the young people to help them to be more conscious in what they do in life so that they can become more like self-control and autonomous in life. So I should not start with like eating like F&B, food and beverage, because it's not the root thing. It's still very the surface. So at that time, at that moment, after I decided to close my business, I thought about education already. Then I told myself, okay, my next business is gonna be education, because education is gonna be the root of everything. It will like give people the independent motivation to do things on their own. So then after it took me around 7 years to research and to learn everything about what education means for individual and for society. So I've been through different jobs and also different activity, even spiritual activities. I'm a kind of a very curious person, so I learn a lot. Even I worked for the government for 2 years. I worked for university. I worked for big companies. I worked for not-for-profit organizations during that time, just to learn like how education affect people differently. Education here, this doesn't mean like K-12, like you have to be put in the system with lectures and textbook. Education for me is everyday learning, how people learn, how people apply into their life. And then last year, because of the pandemic, people put in lockdown and the adoption of edtech get accelerated a lot. And at time, people have to reflect on their education because they cannot go to school. They cannot see each other. They cannot see the trainers. Even they cannot go to their office. So then I think, okay, that's a very good opportunity, good time for me to start my business now. I cannot miss that. Okay, for now, I need to use technology to make sure that my business scale. And of course, I need to like fine tune the education methodology. Because for me, ed is more important than tech. So make sure the ed, I have enough like thinking and reflection on that to make sure that I can validate it with my technology. And then I think people in lockdown, they must suffer a lot mentally. So we cannot just put them in like a virtual lecture or virtual conference. That's very boring.
Or
So why don't
classroom
we?
setting, right? Or a
Yeah,
classroom setting.
yeah, that's very stressful. So I think why don't we use like dynamic mechanism of gamification to give them more dynamism and motivations in learning, and technology can do that. So with that thinking, I try to validate like bit by bit, step by step, since last September last year. So I try to gather a group of like 10 students in different university. So I told them, okay, I have an idea. I will give you 10-day trainings about how to create very creative content and deliver your content to audience in a very impactful way. If you want, register with me. I will give you 10-day training for free. Yeah, I start with that first, and then I observe their behavior in creating the content and how they deliver that content to their own audience by different tools, right? They can use Zoom, they can use StreamYard, they can use Kahoot or whatever. And I observe that. So after like 2 months doing that with them, and they reach to like 400 audiences, then I see, okay, people get excited about this, especially the young people, because they're very tech savvy. They like new things. And they're very easy to get bored, and their attention span is very short. So they like gamification thing. So that's why I tried to do my first prototype, a very minimal viable product, and to test the market from February this year. And until now, like we have more than 10,000 users already with that small prototype from 9 countries. Yeah, that's another milestone for me to think about my next step for the business after validating that experiments.
So can
Yeah.
I ask you, because I know that you focus on the ed, right, which is the education. And of course, there's the tech that goes with the education.
Yeah.
So in your case, when you were thinking of creating a minimum viable product, after you're validated with these students and you taught them and you observe what they were doing, did you go out there and say, hey, I've got this idea, I'm going to hire someone and to help me build this thing? Or do you build yourself?
Actually, yes, during that time, I went out and asked a lot, especially the tech people, because that's the skill that I don't have. So I really need technical people. So I try to search everyone in my network and talk to them about, okay, I see this opportunity. This is my vision. And that's what I want to do. Can you help me join my team? Yes. So, and then I have a couple of people join my team. And you know what? The tech person in my team, I changed 5 times already.
Okay.
Like just like a few months, but I changed 5 times already.
Okay.
To me, fit is very important. If you need to make quick decision, make it. Yeah, because it's the luxury of being a startup. Like I can be very agile, very fast, and I make fast decision. And yeah. And for now, I have a good tech person that helping me with this current product. Yeah.
So in this case, you have gone very fast from just thinking about the idea last year and getting it out there and getting lots of people to get on the platform and to use it, right? Because at the end of the day, they have to use it in order to make it work for them in terms of education. So what are some of the people or companies that are right now using your iZi community platform?
Until now, we just let the platform out with different experiments with different type of people. So what we observe is people who already like created content in in like a weekly or monthly basis, and they already have a certain base of audience or followers, that's the target of content creator that we see that they tend to use the platform the most. For example, trainer or teacher, lecturer, they have their knowledge, they have their content, they have to deliver it on a daily or weekly basis, and they have their followers. So they need to put their content into the bite-sized format to engage with their audience better. Otherwise, people will be like overwhelmed with a lot of long-form content and like one-way communication content. So that's what we observe. And another part is the student club. So, in Vietnam, in university in Vietnam, there's many student clubs, and the students very active and dynamic. So normally they use this platform to interact and engage with their own student clubs, with their like weekly activity or their competition. iZi hosts around more than 10 like startup competitions for like Vietnamese students already. So they keep using that because it's easy to use, and currently it's a prototype, a small like minimum viable product. But people like it's beneficial to people in that sense. Yeah, that's what we observe so far. And in the next period of time, like 6 months, we want to focus on helping the content creators, the intellectual content creators who already have their content and also their audience. We help them to have higher return on engagement, help them to have higher engagement rates with their audience and also the return. So that's the focus for the next phase.
So you have students and you have the content creators.
Yes.
So
they call learner and content
learner,
creator.
Learner and content creator.
Yeah.
And I also know that iZi has, like you said, snackable, bite-sized kind of content within the 1 to 5 minute range, right?
Yeah, right.
So there's nothing that that goes beyond 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, currently nothing beyond 5 minutes. Yeah.
So you can do a quiz or a question or answer thing just within maximum 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's like a question answer approach. We want to like arouse the curiosity of people by like making people ask more questions. So that's why we really like. It's also part of our education methodology that we use question based. We want people to ask more questions. Yeah.
Are you the first in Vietnam? Are you the first doing this kind of platform?
Yes, I think so. So far, I haven't
come across any
other
similar platforms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far, yeah.
So what made, I know just now you mentioned perspective and thinking. So I would assume that you've taken lessons learned from your business when you were 21.
Yeah.
And taken those lessons and made yourself realize certain things and made this business even better in so many ways and scalable too, right?
Yeah.
Even though that was scalable.
Yeah, I learned from that. Yes. Mm.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you learned? I know you talk about perspective and thinking. I know you talk about thinking a lot.
Yep. Mm. The biggest thing that I learned, right? The biggest lesson that I learned is more about the purpose. So when I decided to do something, especially business is something very big to me. I'm not the kind of person who do business to sell, but I do business to last. So that's why the purpose behind my business is something very important to me. Why I do this, why I do what I'm doing. So I try to answer that question and make sure that the purpose behind my business, the mission of my company, make me feel very meaningful in my life. And because of that, I don't see the boundary between work and life, because everything is life to me. Yeah, it's life to me. So that purpose, that thinking about purpose is very important to me. And then how I define success is also very important. Because of the first failure, then I ask myself, why this people call it a failure? Like, is it like a mathematical way to say failure mean this and that? It's just perspective, right? So I try to ask a lot of why. And then when I come up with a purpose, why I do with this business, and how do I define my own success? And that's the key, like the biggest lesson that I learned. And I answer that like clearly to myself. And then I decided to do this one. The rest are on about technical. The rest are on about technical. Okay, how to do it, how to start it, how to hire people, how to hire tech people, how to scale the business, how to fundraising. Yeah, many other. It's all about technical work, and we can all learn that. Yeah.
So it seems to me that you've taken that big reason of why you exist or why the business exists, right?
Yeah, why the business exists, yes.
And everything else can be learned. Everything else
Yes.
can be slowly, either you hire or you can delegate or you can do something about it,
correct,
right?
correct,
So you just have to make sure that you've got your correct purpose in place.
Correct, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's very important. Yeah. The rest can be learned. You can learn it fast or slow, depend on you. But that purpose make me very high resilience.
Mm.
Yeah. I can fail this and that. It's okay. It's just a part of the journey. I keep learning it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I like your answer. I think that it gives the work meaning too. The work that you do, because I don't think every day is a easy day.
Yeah.
People in entrepreneurship wouldn't think that every day is an easy day, but there are tough days, right? And there are not so tough days. And I think knowing the purpose keeps us all going. So now I want to ask you this. When, of course, you started, you had to get your team together and hire people and hire the programmers to do to create the platform, right? What about funding? Do you have to go and pitch someone or enter a competition?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, it's a common thing that when it comes to business, people always ask about finance. So where's the money? If you don't have money, how can you start business? But for me, it's not about that. You start a business because you have a purpose, you have a belief and a vision. And then money will come like eventually. So for me, I start my business with nothing. It's just like a belief. I really believe in this vision, it will happen. And I prepare for that. I do research, like serious research. I conducted experiment, and I prepare for that. And then I talk to people around me. I share about that, and I told them that I prepare like financial model clearly, even though I have to learn everything by myself, in a very serious manner. And then I share to people the plan, and then I just raise fund. I have a very clear plan in my mind when I want to raise fund, how much, from whom, why. Yeah, I prepare all of that, and then I start to talk to people, communicate clearly. And we just closed our first fundraising round last month.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, with very prestigious angel investors from 4 countries. No one from Vietnam.
Wow. No, really?
Yeah, funny. Yeah.
Did that surprise you?
Not really, because they are like associated to Vietnam in some way, but they're not Vietnamese. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah. So the secret here is about a clear vision, a very vivid vision, and It's only the founder believe in that a lot, very much, and also prepare very well. Prepare.
And to be very, very structured about what you want.
Yes.
And when you plan to achieve certain milestones in that journey, right?
Correct. Yeah. But sometimes, like when you prepare things, but it doesn't mean that it's on right, it's on correct. I prepare everything, but still I'm very open to see that, okay, I'm wrong here and there. I need to fix. I prepare, but still I'm open to change and I change very fast. Yeah. I listen to the feedback to make sure that I understand the feedback. And if it works, then I change very fast. Yeah. That's how I run my company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask you, what happens in the day-to-day of a EdTech founder?
Yeah, we're in lockdown. What do you expect?
But even if lockdown, I am sure you're able to do some work or do some things online, right? Okay, let's talk about when it's not lockdown. When you was not locked down, what were you doing?
Okay. Yeah, I actually forgot about the before lockdown because I'm very much into this. I get you to it, Yeah. Yeah, okay. So my day may start not from the morning, but from the previous evening. That's how my day starts. So my previous evening, the first thing I do is to reflect the day. Reflect what happened during the day. I have my notebook. It's always with me, like here. Yeah.
A physical one.
Yeah, I wrote everything in every meeting. And then in the evening, I try to reflect on that. What the key learning for today? What I could improve or do better next time? And then I look at my schedule for the next day to make sure that I make full use of that schedule. So I have like 10 hours or 8 hours. So make sure that 8 hours I will meet as many people as I can with a very good contact, and make sure that I have time for preparation too. So I don't want to come to a meeting without preparing. So I make sure that evening, I make sure that my schedule will be a full use for me tomorrow. Yeah, and then I sleep. Actually, I did a few 20-minute walk and some other hobby before sleep. And then I start the morning with confidence and calmness. Yeah, and normally my daytime schedule very full. Yeah, I try to make it very full.
Even if it's the pandemic time, also you're doing a lot of meetings online, I presume.
Yeah, like back to back.
Okay.
Even like busier than normal time, because normal time we need time to transfer, like to move from this location to the other location to meet people. But here it's just like a click.
Yeah.
So
and you're transported to the next meeting.
Yes, already. Yeah.
Okay, so that reminds me also that probably you have a lot of things to think about in your day because you have so many meetings. At the end of the day, actually, at the end of the day, you probably have a lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a day in the life of a EdTech founder.
Yeah, it's a normal days, but sometimes when I feel too overwhelmed with the meetings, I will keep a day to do research and to read and think. So I enjoy thinking a lot because when we talk, like I don't have time to reflect on the conversation that we just had. So like for every three days or 4 days, I skip a day to make sure that I recharge, reflect, and read enough and think better.
Yeah. I like your lifestyle habits.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I want to. Okay, we talked about the business, right? Now I want to talk about you. Because you're talking about gamification, right? As a platform for learners and content creators.
Yes.
So, what were your favorite games when you were growing up?
Good question. Yeah, I play games a lot. So different type of games. Different type of games like mobile game, computer game, like Nintendo games with a small device. But the most favorite games of mine is Civilization. Civilization is the game that simulating the whole civilization of humankind over time. And when you play it, you will play a role of the owner of that, no, the initiator of that civilization. And you have to make a lot of decision on how you want to build that civilization. You want to build it as like in the religion focus or science focus or politics focus or culture driven. So you have to make continuous decision on that, and you see how the civilization grows. And to me, that's very educational. I enjoy it. I'm, even I stayed up until 5 a.m. in the morning to play that game. Yeah,
Is this online
and
or is it a board
continuously.
game? Is it online or board game?
It's a computer game because
Computer
it's quite heavy, so cannot use laptop to play. You have to have a big desktop to play it, and you can play it offline, like with a local network. You don't need an internet to play. You can just play with people sitting next to you, or just play by yourself with the bot, like the NPC in the game. Yeah, but that game is very, very exciting, very educational to me. I learn a
Do
lot.
you still play that game?
I don't have time. I wish I wish I have time. Recently, there's a very famous game called BUPG, Battleground, like kind of Battleground, and it's a very famous game amongst the young people here. And I heard that their games mechanism is excellent. So I told my team, okay, team, what if we spend 2 hours a week to play game together? I miss playing games.
And what did your team say?
I said, yes, let's do it.
Is this also one of those like similar to Civilization?
It's different. It's like survival games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
okay.
survival games. Yeah.
So then, besides playing games, what was your childhood like?
My childhood,
Yeah, your childhood.
it's quite a bit weird.
And why would you say that?
Well, in my childhood, even now, but more in the childhood time, that I used to contemplate the insect a lot. This is quite weird. Not insect, but everything around me, like every small detail of nature. Like I can contemplate the leaf for 1 hour. I just look at it and I just talk with it. And I just try to understand what it talked to me. And this happened a lot in my childhood time because when I was young, I couldn't have good eye contact with other because I couldn't understand people. Yeah. So I don't know why, but I remember a lot of things that happened to me during I was 2 or 3 or 4 years old. I had many conversations with objects. Yeah, not with human being. Yeah.
But I don't think that's really unusual. I think when we're young, we talk to everything.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I know people who just will go off and be on their own because sometimes they could not find the right playmates or friends.
Yeah.
Right. So they prefer to spend time on their own. So it's not really that unusual, but it's interesting that you could contemplate a leaf for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even when I grow up, I can contemplate like a candle or water in the class for an hour.
And besides that, do you like have any special hobbies or any unique ways of looking at the world ever since you were a child?
Yeah, I'm very curious about the mysterious things. So I'm very much into that. Sometimes, my hobby even now is whatever is mysterious, I will definitely go and try to research about that, read it or watch it. So that's why many things related to like ancient civilizations. Like people talk about astrology, people talk about Kabbalah, about the secret of the universe. Yeah, that's kind of thing that helped me a lot. Yeah, it's
So anything
mysterious.
mysterious, anything that is
Yeah, anything
unusual.
mysterious. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I bet you read a lot about aliens too.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Yeah.
Okay. Any more unusual habits of yours besides
No.
digging out unusual things to read?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the most unusual thing. The rest is just like normal. Like I watch cartoon. I love cartoon so much. Yeah, rather than other kind of movie, because all of that nurture my imagination, and I enjoy the world in my imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember that I also read an article that you wrote on LinkedIn about factory learning.
Okay. Oh, you
read
read that. Oh, thank
Yes, I
you.
read that.
Yeah.
So I was just wanting to ask you that, yes, you talked about factory learning that's made for industries which has continued to pervade education for like, what you say, 200 years?
Yeah.
Right? And so by doing that, we're not going to improve anything. So I guess that's also the reason why you started your entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Because you kind of like dissatisfied with something that's happening and something that's still happening.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah, like when you asked me about my first company in the very first questions, I started first by saying that I get bored with my school and my curriculum. I was so bored. And also it's like affect me, my thinking, that why it's so boring, but we still keep like sitting there and learning all those stuff, and we cannot apply into daily life. Yeah, that's why I did a bit of research to see why it happened. And I like the fact that we can nurture our imagination to to learn. So there's a saying of Einstein. He said that the true intelligence is not about the knowledge, but about the imagination. Yeah, and Einstein is someone who impact a lot on me too, like his philosophical thinking and his point of view, his life view, work views.
I'm sure you read a lot about him too.
Quite
a lot about him.
Feel not all on everything about him, but yeah.
So now I want to ask you, right? So after you've gone through your business and now this is technically your second business.
Yeah.
After the first one when you were 21.
Actually, I have a tiny business in between of that too.
Oh, okay. So what was that? Which I didn't find out.
It's a consulting firm. It's a corporate innovation consulting firm. It's not a startup. It's just like a consulting firm. So because during the time I work for government, I'm in charge of many programs for entrepreneurship and innovation. And when I left the government, and there's still many ongoing activities they need me to do. So that's why I decided to start a consulting firm and to conduct all of the service that the government asked me to do. Yeah.
Are you still running that?
Yes, the company is still alive and I still serve a few projects. Yeah.
Okay. So you're still a consultant in that sense, plus you're a startup founder.
Yeah, in that sense, yes.
So then what advice, okay, right, I'm talking about the tech startup phase.
Yeah.
What advice would you offer women, tech startup founders who are aiming to follow a similar path like yours?
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Because I'm sure a lot of women want to do this too, right?
Yeah, non-tech, right? You mean a non-tech founder who is a woman, a non-tech female founder. Wow, yeah. My advice will be, okay, so, tech startup, especially when we are non-tech, is a very tough journey. Is it very demanding? It's very demanding, and we need to adapt every day a lot. So to have that high resilience to keep continuing the journey, I think the more important thing is about a purpose, like I just shared. Like try to work hard on finding your purpose. Purpose is your personal aspiration in life. What makes you feel meaningful doing every day? And try to really form that into a business vision. So with that kind of personal aspiration and very meaningful aspiration, then how is aligned with a vision in business? So with that vision and your personal aspiration is a very strong purpose statement that you can have. And with that, you can start with that, and everything else will follow. Everything else is about technical work. like you
mentioned, right? Everything else can be learned. Someone can be learned. Someone can teach you what you don't know. But when you say demanding, does it mean demanding as in like you have to catch up with the technology? You have to know what people are talking about.
Yes, correct.
Especially when your team or your programmers are explaining something.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, because if you're the founder of a tech company, but you're non-tech, and people, if you don't understand some like technical terms, people like the team will not be convinced with your leadership. Sometimes just show your vulnerability. That's because you don't know this, just show it, but don't show it like quite often. Like make sure that you take effort on learnings to understand them too, and to add value to them too. Like they have technical skill, but you have vision for the technology. You know how the technology will go and how it can be applied in the business and how it can be aligned with the business vision. Yeah, that's somehow add value to their work too, because you show them the picture where it's gonna go.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you then where do you plan to take iZi in the next, I don't know, year? I mean, things move very fast, right, in the tech space. But where do you plan to take it?
Yeah, the next milestone for iZi is like early next year. We plan to raise our official seed round fundraising with the venture capitals. And to prepare for that, we need to hire some key positions, very key positions for the product. And we have to fine tune our product. Because for now, our product is still like very prototyping feeling. And we need to really make a real product with a good team. So key important thing that we have to do in the next 6 months is about hiring and product development. And then early next year, seed round fundraising.
So you already have that mapped out.
Yeah, I already have like the plan.
The big picture.
Yeah, the big picture, yeah.
Okay. And just now, I think during our conversation, we talk about success.
Yeah.
Right. So to close our interview, I'd like to come back to that.
Wow.
And ask you, how do you personally define success after so many years of working for others, consulting, starting a business first time, starting a business the second time, and doing it a little bit different this time? So how do you define success for yourself?
Wow, yeah, you're really good at asking questions.
Thank you.
And end this with a very very insightful question. For me, first I define failure first. Okay, to me, failure means you haven't tried hard enough. mean fail. Okay. But if you try hard enough, everything is a set for me. Because for me, success is like I try hard enough in what I want, and what make me feel meaningful every day, and what make me feel appreciative and grateful every day too. So that is the thing that I will try very hard for. And whatever the outcome would be, it's all about success for me. Yeah.
Whatever the outcome does not matter.
Whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
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 So it's not like you're just aiming for a specific outcome. And if you don't get that, it's like, oh, you didn't get that right. So it's just
that's a very core of my success. That's why I build my resilience because of that. But then another layer. So other layer is very specific goal. So the outer layer is gonna be, okay, I need to achieve this in 1 year, 2 years. And the thin layer outside is a very short term goal, very short term gains. It's like about 1 week or 1 day. I need to do that. I need to do this. But the core inside is about what I just shared with you. Yeah. But surrounding that, also I have a different type of goals to support what I see myself as a successful person.
Yeah, I like that as the ending answer to our 1 hour together. Because I was also a little surprised when I asked you to define success and you said, let me define failure.
Yeah.
Because it is true. I mean, in order to define success, you must know what failure is, because they are polar opposites, right? Or some people think they are polar opposites, or there's a positive and a negative to it. So we have to look at both parts of the picture.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no hero, right? If there's no monster.
Yeah.
So if the hero is just the hero,
correct.
I mean,
he's
going to fight. He's just fighting by himself. He has no other monster to fight. Yeah. So I think we've had a really insightful conversation today.
Yeah. You asked very good questions. And you give me very comfortable feeling to share. Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
You are welcome. I enjoyed talking to you because I realized that you have a lot of good things going for you. I mean, you understand what it means to be entrepreneurial too. And it's not just about focusing on the end goal, but also all the steps that it takes you to get there.
Yeah.
And for someone so young, you know what you want. which is I don't know. When I was 30 years old, did I know all this? I'm not too sure. So I really salute you. I admire that courage and that resilience, because it takes a lot of courage.
Wow.
And it takes a lot of courage to also ask for that first job.
Yeah.
Because without that first job, you wouldn't have been here, or probably your life plans would be changed.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm glad that we went down a very long and windy road, but we eventually reached the end. At the end of the road, and we found out more about what you do and how you're going to do it the next year and probably into the future. So, final question.
Yeah.
Where do people find you or your platform if they want to test it out, try it out, sign up, connect with you?
Okay. Well, thank you for asking that. My current platform is iZi.community. You just sign up. Yeah. iZi. Yeah. iZi.community.
Okay.
And if somebody want to contact me, can look for me in LinkedIn at Laura Phan or my Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. So that's LAURA.
Yes.
PHAN.
Yes. On LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah.
On LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Laura. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And I'm really glad that you're doing such amazing things and you're paving the way for other women to do more amazing things too.
I hope so. Yeah, I really hope that. Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share. Krista, appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
Okay. And good luck and all the best for iZi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll see you again.
See you.
What did you like about Laura's story? What are your thoughts about failure? What are some of your strategies for coping with setbacks and failures? Let me know when you head on over to our website, womenpreneurasia.com. Visit the website to find all the extra information about Laura and her vision for education in Vietnam. I'm sure one day this woman will transform the world with her passion and creativity. And do you also know that you can sign up to get updates via email from us at Womenpreneur Asia? All the good stuff is over the website. And I also have a survey that I hope you'll participate in. Get the survey when you get to womenpreneurasia.com. In next week's episode, I'll be speaking to Jace Tam of Singapore. She is the Chief Businesswoman of Creatives at Work Private Limited, which is a media agency that she and her sister started in 2012. Creatives at Work is unique in that it is raising the bar for the freelance industry in Singapore. As an agency, they work with freelancers and match freelancers with businesses and organizations across the Southeast Asian region. If you're thinking that they're just like Upwork or Fiverr, they're really not, because their value comes from not just pairing the right freelance talents to the right organizations, but also managing the projects to their successful completion. Interested to find out how Jace balances business with creativity? Join me next week as we get into the creative industry.